You know that feeling when you're scrolling through endless options for a digital signage screen, and every product page looks the same: big numbers, glossy photos, and promises of the best visual experience? It's easy to wonder whether you'll end up spending a lot of money on a display that looks great on paper but just doesn't fit the way you actually use it day to day. And if you've already set a budget, the fear of buying the wrong size or the wrong feature set feels even heavier. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break down whether the LG 55UH5M 55-inch UHD signage display is the kind of investment that will actually pay off for you, or if you're better off looking elsewhere. First, let's talk about what this screen is really built for. It's a 55-inch ultra-high-definition panel that runs LG's webOS smart platform, and it comes with a suite of security tools aimed at business users. In a typical office lobby, a school hallway, or a small retail space, you're usually looking for a screen that can sit on a wall, run 24/7, and let a non-technical person push new content without needing to call IT every hour. That's the sweet spot LG is targeting with this model. Setting it up is surprisingly straightforward. The unit ships with a VESA-compatible mounting kit, so you can bolt it directly to a wall or a ceiling suspended arm with just a few screws. The built-in webOS interface means you don't have to hook up an external PC or media player if you don't want to. From the remote or the on-screen menu, you can connect to Wi-Fi, sign into LG's Content Manager, and start pulling in playlists, weather widgets, or even YouTube videos. For a small business that only has one person handling marketing, that level of self-service is a real time saver. You can schedule a morning welcome message, swap it out for a promotional video at noon, and have a nighttime news ticker all without leaving the lobby. Brightness is a practical concern that gets a lot of hype in spec sheets, but in real life it's all about the environment you'll be putting the screen in. The LG 55UH5M's brightness sits in a comfortable middle ground, bright enough to stay legible in a well-lit office or a retail space with overhead fluorescence, but not so intense that it bleeds into a dark conference room at night. If you're planning to mount the display behind a glass window that gets direct sunlight, you might notice a bit of washout during peak hours. That's not a flaw, it's just the trade-off of choosing a model that balances power consumption with visual clarity. For most indoor applications, the brightness is sufficient and helps keep the electricity bill lower than you'd see with a 700 nit commercial-grade screen. One of the less talked about aspects of this model is the bezel width. LG has managed to keep the edges under an inch, which matters if you ever want to create a video wall. Imagine two of these units side by side in a university's student services center, showing a single, continuous feed of campus events. The thin bezel means the split between screens is barely noticeable, making the whole wall feel like one large canvas. If you're only ever going to have a single unit, the bezel isn't a game changer, but the option is there without having to buy a separate video wall product line. Security is baked in, and that's not just a buzzword. The display includes advanced remote management capabilities that let an IT admin lock down the UI, enforce firmware updates, and even wipe the device if it gets tampered with. In practice, that means you can set a schedule that only allows certain users to change the playlist during business hours, while the rest of the time the screen runs a lockdown loop. For a corporate environment where you need to protect brand consistency or a medical office where patient information could be accidentally displayed, those controls are worth the extra configuration step. Now, let's look at the numbers that matter after you've unboxed the thing. The LG 55UH5M has a rating of 3.8 out of 5 stars from 83 Amazon reviewers. That midly off-the-road score suggests you'll get a solid, functional product, but there are a few recurring themes you'll want to keep in mind. Some users have reported that the webOS interface can feel a little sluggish when you're navigating through many apps, especially if you're on an older Wi-Fi router. It's not a deal-breaker, but it does mean you might want to allocate a few minutes for the first setup to ensure the network is strong enough. A handful of reviewers mentioned that the built-in speakers